What's up, everybody? Farmer Q here. Just gonna go live and show y'all a few things that I was kind of just looking over today and trying to just go over. So we're gonna give people about 5 minutes to start rolling in before we get into what we're gonna talk about today. But let's get started with. We're gonna give people about. Yeah, look at me, unprepared, right? Unprepared. I had the phone volume going. I had the mic somewhere far away. Hey, but it's okay. We're gonna be just fine. So, like I said, we're gonna give it about 5 minutes to let everybody stream on in. Got to get this phone in a position where I could actually see what people are saying in this chat. So, there we go. But yeah, it's cold out. Super cold out. So, I guess I'll pull up like a quick little little weather thing to show y'all exactly how cold it is. It's really cold right now. It's really cold. So while we wait for everybody to roll in, let's just say our hellos and how you doings and everything. So yeah. So I'm doing good this afternoon. I'm just trying to stay warm. We are really blessed because we didn't lose power at all. And I'm crossing my fingers on that because I got a lot of plants that, want to keep alive and everything. But I haven't lost any power. So we're going to try to keep that trend going here. I mean, not like I'm in control of it, but according to some of my neighbors on the Facebook page, they were saying that the power company just shut off some people's power and left some people's power going. So that kind of stinks. That stinks real bad. But yeah, let me show y'all this weather I'm dealing with real quick. It's atrocious. So that is what I'm dealing with right here. 10 degrees. Well, we're not quite single digits just yet, but we're close. We're getting there. So, I mean, shoot. That is pretty crazy. And then we have it says it feels like it's -4 and it's supposed to get down to tonight is supposed to get down to 3 degrees or something like that. But that is cold. So we're going to reset this real quick so I can keep up with the chat, because if I don't do this, it's going to not let me see the actual live chat. So got to get that right. Okay, there we go. What's up, GG Naturals? What's up, 2 Quacks, 5 Clucks Farm? What's up, Eco Neighbor? I saw you rolled in earlier. So, like I said, give it a few minutes. We got a minute and 30 before we started up and everything, but we're not going to keep y'all for too long tonight. We're just going to go over what we got and let y'all get to your evening. It's pretty cold out, and I figured people were sitting down in the house chilling. So, hey, what's up, Erica Taylor? Good to see you. What's up, Super Saiyan 231? Good to have you tonight. Never seen snow yeah. So, yeah. Truth. I have never, I've only been in Texas for a few years, but in all my time in Texas, I have not seen snow like this. It is pretty crazy out there. What's up, Veggie Farm? What's up, Veggie Farm? How you doing? Good to have you in here tonight as well. But so me and Tiffany were outside earlier today, and we shot this cool video I'm going to be uploading later. But oh man, I'm not going to tell y'all what I did in it, but I'll give y'all a hint. Let me see. It was a flurry. So it was a flurry outside with what I did, and stay tuned. Check that out later when it's posted and everything. But yeah, it's cold. We're going to get back to the live stream and everything. We got a few more seconds before we get started with what we got tonight, and I'm excited to go over it because we got some stuff tonight that is pretty important, and I'm going to just kind of touch on the subjects and then touch on how it relates to my garden, and then kind of talk about what's in chat. What's up, Eco Neighbor? What's up, Stinky Puddle Ranch? What's up, Stinky Puddle Ranch? Good to have y'all tonight. Just going to do this and just kind of recognize everybody's chat. So we've hit the 5-minute mark. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Hey, Mr. Stinky Puddle Ranch, how you doing? How you doing, fam? Good to have you. So, all right. So tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about plant growth, and we're going to be talking about pest prioritization. Specifically with the plant growth, we're going to be talking about soil quality. We're going to be talking about mulching. We're going to be talking about plant spacing. So there's so much to talk about with plant growth, but I just wanted to touch on those 3 subjects specifically with plant growth. I'm going to talk about how some of this stuff applies to the stuff that I have outside that's buried in literally 6 inches of snow right now. If you look outside right now in my backyard, it's like 6 inches of snow. You can see the contour of everything in the garden. You can see like the row I have, and you can see the slope. It looks like a little hill, like a snowbank. But yeah, it's neat to see. I'm glad that I got those golden beets harvested before we got all that going outside, though, because I'm going to tell you right now, everything in the garden is completely dead right now. So that, I guess, stinks, but I got some more stuff to add to the compost pile. That's always a plus, right? So never sleep on that. What's up, Patricia Roberts? It's good to have you tonight. So yeah, and then also, as far as the pest prioritization goes, we're going to talk about indoor versus outdoor approaches. We're going to talk about beneficial insects, and we're going to talk about trap plants and how we can use trap plants to actually to kind of draw some of the stuff away. So that's what we'll be getting into tonight. But the first thing, like I said, we'll be touching on is the soil quality aspects of it. So, one really important thing about soil when you're applying it to your garden, if you're adding new soil, if you're creating a garden bed, if you're just using soil to do whatever with, you want to know the basics of your soil. So when I say the basics of your soil, you want to know where that soil comes from. So let's dig in that a little bit. Let's dig into that point a little bit. So whenever I get my soil, I go to my local soil yard, which is out there in Plano, Texas. It's the Texas Pure Products soil yard. They pick up all of the neighboring cities' brush, and they have a contract with all the neighboring cities to where they give them the brush. And if you're within those cities, you get a discount on dumping your brush, or you get a discount on actually getting the products from them, because they sell soil, they sell mulch, they sell compost, they sell blends that are specifically for turf. They sell all kinds of cool stuff over there. So it's pretty awesome. I love going up there. And actually at that yard was my first time I actually grew watermelon successfully with no amendments, just threw their soil in a bed, and boom, I actually overseeded that bed and everything. I had 32 watermelon plants in that bed, and I ended up with about 12 watermelons, over 25 pounds each. So to put that in perspective, that is 300 pounds of produce out of one 4x8 garden bed with watermelons. And I had vines going all over the yard. I'm talking about 60 feet every direction, north, south, east, west, north, south, east, west, whatever, not north, south. So all the diagonal directions too. But yeah, I had watermelon vines going everywhere. So yeah, it was crazy. But that soil was really good. And because I knew where it came from, I had so much confidence using it. And one thing I do remember with that soil is I use compost teas all the time. I was mad scientist out there that year. I had this really big pond aerator that I would bubble this big 55-gallon animal feed vat. And I would have just have like I'll put molasses in there and do all that stuff, all the regular compost tea stuff from back in the day. I don't do that no more, but it's actually, it works pretty well if you do it right. But yeah, know the basics of your soil and where it came from. Not to try to veer off too much, but yeah, let's look at. Okay, I'm trying to make sure that I don't miss out on nothing in the chat, so I'm just gonna link kind of what people got going on in the chat here, so I can pay homage to the chat, because I'm pretty notorious about letting the chat get ahead of me. So I don't want to get too far ahead of my own chat here. Tiffany says never eat soggy waffles. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay. All right. So getting back to the subject and everything, what was the process of that soil yard or wherever you got that soil from? If you go to a soil yard, you need to know the process of how they make their compost and how they make their soil. Texas Pure Products specifically actually uses a process called thermosilic composting to make their compost, but they have so much woody material and they only use tree parts and leaves on the trees. They don't allow any grass clippings because they don't want any potential synthetic fertilizers to get into their compost or nothing like that. So your soil yard, they can be very specific about that sort of thing. They can kind of not be very specific about that sort of thing, but you want to look out for that because it's very important. One way that you can kind of really start to understand a little bit more about your local soil yard, if you do have one, is to do some research on who leads that yard and what their values and what their passions are when it comes to soil. You'll get a really good idea of what they allow in the facility to happen. So yeah. Oh, let me see. Did I have termites? So, Eco Neighbor, I never have had Well, actually, Eco Neighbor, I actually did have termites in my first garden, but they just kind of, when the ants came, they just kind of faded away because the ants were not having the termites there. So regrettably, I didn't get to actually treat the ants that season, but they didn't cause too much damage. So I just kind of let them be in their little corner of the garden bed, but they took care of the termites that season. So I guess they were being beneficial in that regard. But what those ants did do is bring aphids to my corn plants. And I ended up having to I was using organics and stuff. And I was using, specifically, I was using, what was I using? I was using like a insecticidal soap to spray the corn plants when the aphids would come. And then the ants would just kind of, after a while, they kind of faded back off the corn plants a little bit once they got the idea of what was going to happen to their colonies. So yeah, not trying to plug myself, but if you, oh yeah. So on Tiffany Cherie's channel, we actually was reacting to some Reddit posts, and it was pretty interesting stuff. So if y'all want, go check that out on her channel. That's really funny stuff. Oh, no, never eat soggy waffles is how you remember north, east, south, and west. Okay, so Eco Neighbor said thermosilic. What? Okay, so the composting process is called thermosilic composting, and it's when you get the compost. I forgot the exact temperature, but I'll look at that later. But I think it's somewhere above the 161 degree temperature range that you need to get the compost to reach that temperature to kill the pathogens and to actually start breaking down the material. But the microbes themselves, the particular microbes are called thermosilic microbes. And when I say thermo, you have to remember thermo indicates heat generating. So these bacteria generate heat within their composting process, which is indicative that this composting process is a very bacterial dominant composting process as opposed to a fungal composting process. So not to get too complicated with it, but your fungal composting processes are going to be your cold compost, where the compost pile sits in the yard for a longer amount of time. Typically, your cold composts are going to be a little bit more stable because it's had more time to actually go through the process. So there you go. 2 Quacks, 5 Clucks Farms. Y'all say, okay, you use organic cinnamon when it comes to the ants. Okay, I'm going to remember that because I want to have everything in my arsenal when it comes to those bad boys, because when you have a really big garden, they come in droves sometimes. So I'm going to be fighting those, I feel like, more than anything else, because your ants are your carriers for a lot of your problems with your pests and your plants. So you have to kind of get rid of those guys. They're nothing to play with. Those ants are very invasive and they will take your bed by storm. I'm serious. Gigi, yep, I'm going to use it this year. I got two OGs of the garden sector over here who use it. So I'm going to be applying it to my garden. So we're going to go to the next point of that. So we talked about the process that they use to actually make that the soil yard. So we're going to talk about the quality standard, and then we'll move on to the mulching aspect of things. So the quality standard of soil, I want to pull up something real quick on Texas Pure Products page and show you. I want to show you their actual, they have a actual they have a product information page for their Compost Ultra, and it's like a soil test you can pull up. And I'm going to actually pull that soil test up real quick and just kind of scroll down it real quick. Not like go over it real. I'm not going to go into depth with it. I just want to show you what your soil yard should offer you if they're going to be selling you soil. And a lot of your soil yards will actually have this. So check this out real quick. So check this out. So they're going to have your moisture content. They're going to have your organic matter content, your pH. And this particular compost pH is right at the 7.66 level. So when you're applying your nutrients to it, or when you're applying your water to it, if it's slightly acidic, you don't have to worry about it because it's going to stabilize at that pH. So that's always something to remember. Your soluble salts, you want to have not very much salts in your soil, things like that. And it's just really nice to have a soil test, like a soil test have been done on the compost. So we're going to go back to the points real quick, but I wanted to show that real fast. And what's up, Halal Family Homestead? How you doing? Glad to have you here tonight. The Tinkerer's Wife, how you doing? From Oregon. Hey, is it colder there right now than it is here in Texas? Because it is pretty cold outside where we are right now. We're actually approaching the single digits. I think we're at like 9 or 8 degrees right now, and we're supposed to get to like 2 degrees tonight. So we'll be looking out for that. Okay, so I'll blow this up. Let me see if I can actually make this a little bit bigger here, and I'll add it back. But let me see. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit too big, but we're going to dial it back some. So y'all can see here that, can y'all see that a little bit better? Let me see. There we go. All right, so here we go. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of scroll down real slow like, and just kind of show you some of the stuff that you could look at on here, because I don't want to bypass it too much, but I don't want to have too much data stuff in our face right now. It kind of gets overwhelming if you're not prepared for it. So, but yeah, you can see the particle size. They don't really give you the unit, but that's a pretty small particle size. Oh, it says inches. Never mind. It says inches right here, but it's literally a third of an inch, maybe, yeah, a third of an inch or so. So the percent emergence. So with the seedlings, they had 100% germination. That's awesome. They pass with the pathogens. That's really nice. You got to look for that. They pass for the trace metal, so they are good on that. But getting down to the good stuff, the plant nutrients, you got nitrogen, and this particular compost, it's not super high nitrogen, but that's good. I really don't care for a compost that has a really high nitrogen amount. But like I said, you can kind of look at all the info and just glance over it. But we're going to get back to the rest of the points and everything here. I don't want to get too much into that, but I will have other live streams where I get into this a little bit more in depth, because I want to kind of break it down a little bit more and have time to do that. But it gets a little bit, it gets spicy. And I want to be able to word it the right way to where I can relay the message to everybody. So there you go with that. But yeah, that's what I mean as far as the quality standard. That's what I mean as far as the quality standard with the soil. That's actually quantified in data, exactly how good the soil is. So you can really get a good idea of what you're working with. I think that's bar none. That's top notch right there. But moving on to mulching. About the mulching, I want to talk more specifically on the types of plants that are grown, and really specifying your mulch for those plants that you're growing. So when people think mulch, they think of wood, because, you know, like there's like wood chippers that are called like mulchers and things like that. But mulch or ground cover, I guess you can say, it's just essential. There's no other way to slice it. And I wanted to point this out real quick. The Tinkerer's Wife said, excellent point on the soil test for the compost. Hey, you got to look out. You got to look out for that. And I'm going to just address the chat real quick, so I don't feel pressured about it real quick. But I remember we're talking about the types of the mulch. So we're going to hop right back into that after I hop in the chat and talk about this a little bit. So Tiffany says that apparently it was warmer in Alaska today. So today, what we have in the South is called a polar vortex. And it's like, I think it's when the the jet stream normally has a certain path, and then the pressure actually drops, and the Mississippi River pulls all that cold air down to the south from the north. So y'all get actually like a little, well, the northerners get somewhat of a cold break, and then the southerners get their cold for about a week or however long that polar vortex lasts. So these weather events are insane, and we have the perfect storm for these weather events. And the fact that there's no thermal activity during this time of year when that polar vortex occurs, you have a super high influx of cold air and cold energy in the air. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah. So the tinker's wife said, no, we only got down to 21 a couple nights ago. It got up to 47 today. So all the ice and snow. So yeah, to the tinker's wife's point, they're a little bit further up north, and they actually had a little bit more of a warm spell today. So that's pretty awesome for them. I'm happy for them on that, because it's icy outside, and I feel bad for a lot of my neighbors out here, because I'd probably say about 60 to 70% of my neighbors don't have power. So hey, I think this live stream was meant to be tonight. I was like, I got to make use of this internet, and I gotta give something back. So there you go. 2 years ago, Tinker's wife said, 2 years ago, the company I bought retail bulk compost from had way too much potassium in it. Learned the hard way on that one. Yeah, potassium overdoses. Yeah, nutrient imbalances are, when you're trying to grow food for the family, it becomes very cumbersome, especially when you're in an organic situation. You can't really flush anything out. You just got to live and let die for that season. And then you come back with a soil test and you're like, okay, we're going to amend this and do that. And it still might not work. So it's tough. It's tough getting a bad initial product. So to the tinker's wife's point, make sure you pay attention to the quality standard of the soil. Touching back on that real quick. Yes, GG Naturals. So two quacks and 5 Clucks Farms said, me either. We got the golden butt fertilizer for that. The holy chicken squat. I feel it. And I would be on the same energy if I had my chickens. So we will be on that when we get our chickens. Okay, so the tinker's wife said, we got that storm via the jet stream, and it dipped down and east to you all. Hey, yeah, we're getting it. We're getting it bad. What's up, Giannis GF Cooking? How you doing? Glad to have you, my brother. Glad to have you in here tonight. What's up, Seed Addicts? I haven't seen you around, so it's good to have you. And hope you stick around and hang out with us tonight. 1 degree and 6 inches of snow and counting in zone 6A. Golly, that's crazy. Whew, that's tough. Hey, I hope we don't get down that low, but if we do, hey, hopefully our power stays on. But if not, we're gonna do what we can. So I just want to take a quick second to show the merch real quick. I don't know where our internet cousin is right now, but I think the merch is fire. I love it. I've been rocking it. I rocked it the other day actually, and I had to wash it, but it was ready for the day. So I wanted to have it on the live stream, and hey, I love it. It's comfortable, and I love how it looks. I just love the look of it. So just a quick plug on that. So 2 quacks, 5 Clucks Farm said, I talked to Al Lumna today. They've got a total of 12 inches of snow this year so far. Well off their normal 60 inches of snow by mid-February. Gosh, the weather patterns are crazy, huh? Crazy right now. Hey, 100%. Very nice merch. I agree 100%, Tiffany. All right, let's get back to the lesson before we get too far off the time. So we're going to get back to mulching specifically for the plants that we're growing. When you are growing so say you're growing tomatoes, ideally in the perfect world, mulching with straight tomato leaves would be the thing that you'd want to do, but we're not always afforded that option. So what we want to do is come strong with a nice, good compost base that is pretty good quality. And as you prune that plant, as you cut that plant, you want to let all those leaves stay on the ground, because those plants, every single plant that you grow has a particular nutrient profile that the microbes will actually help reassimilate back into the soil. So if you have a bed of mini plants, you prune all that stuff and you let it sit on top. You might chop it up and make it more fine if you have a lot of rain going on and stuff like that. But you want to start off with a vegetable garden. You want to start off with some kind of hay that is not filled out with seeds. If you can find some good hay, some good alfalfa or something like that. Some good alfalfa hay. I love me some alfalfa hay for mulching the garden starting out. But as the season progresses, you want to take whatever you prune and like take off the plants and put it on top, because that's basically getting the chemistry of the soil right to actually grow those particular plants for the seasons to come. And yes, you can grow tomatoes every year and never have blossom end rot if you do it right. You want to have a good compost that you add in about 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick every season. And you want to make sure that you're chopping and dropping that plant material back on top of the soil. If you're doing that, then you're not going to have to worry about all that stuff happening in the future, because that plant material is going to literally make that mulch it's going to make that compost be tailor-made for those particular plants. So yeah. So you need to also know where your mulch comes from. Usually you can get your mulch from soil yards, the same soil yard you get your compost from. And it's typically a good idea to do that, because you can really match up with your microbes and everything. But if you don't have options to get hay, wood chips will do you fine. I'm sorry. Like, people kind of down wood chips because they say they have the nitrification process and they're going to steal nitrogen from your beds. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not working those wood chips into your soil, you're not going to have to worry about that nitrification going on. So just be careful about wood chipping your actual beds, and you can really do good with some wood chips, because I'm going to tell you that broccoli that you saw in the thumbnail of this video had wood chip mulch, and it did wonderfully. And you know how they say brassicas don't have any microbial activity? They have no mycorrhizal activity. They have their own nutrient sequestering process. Well, I'll agree with that, I guess, but I'm going to still use a good mulch that has a lot of microbial activity, because they're going to break down that matter and make it available for the plants. But let's get back to the chat for a little bit. I know I just said a mouthful. I'm going to get back to the chat and we'll talk a little bit and see what everybody was talking about as we went through that. Looks nice. Hey, I appreciate that, Growing with Donnie. Hey, how you doing tonight, by the way? I don't think I said hey to you earlier, so it's good to have you. Glad to have you. What does a drop in temperature do to change the activity of the soil? All right, there's two aspects of that, Eco Neighbor. The first aspect of that is if you have a snow on top of that soil to insulate that soil. If you have a snow on top of that soil, you'd be surprised at how warm that soil actually stays despite the snow actually being on top of the soil. And the thing about the snow being on the soil, it facilitates that mycorrhizal, not mycorrhizal because you don't have any plants there, but it facilitates that fungal activity, because it creates that perfect darkness layer over every piece of plant matter on the ground out there. And then that fungi it increases its range. It shoots those hyphae out. It shoots their hyphae out, and it searches and it builds. And then what happens is you end up with more water retention in your whole yard, because that fungi is like the maestro of water retention for your soil, for your gardens. It increases your water intake and it increases your water holding capacity by up to 400%. So yes, 400%. When you're in that super crazy drought in the summertime, you're going to thank those fungi for really just creating that fungal web during this snowy season that we're having right now. So, hey, cherish this weather we're having. It's going to do some really good stuff for this season. I feel like it's going to kill a lot of those pathogens. It's going to kill a lot of those pests, because I don't remember, they were saying on the news that here in Texas, it's been 30 plus years since we've had this kind of consecutive cold weather. So, man, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. But yeah, so the second point of that is, if you don't have something to cover that soil, you need to have a nice mulch layer on top of that soil to actually insulate that soil. Because if you have bare soil and you have super dry cold outside, it's not going to do you any favors for your soil activity. It's going to slow it down. And I mean, you can kick it back up, you can ramp it back up, but you don't want to slow that soil activity down, because your soil activity is like it's like a consistency thing through the years. As your soil stays active, you build more of a nutrient base, and you build more of a plant available nutrient exchange capacity for your soil. So you want to keep that soil insulated in with wood chips or with your hay super thick, however much. But if you're in the wintertime, use wood chips. Just insulate your bed with wood chips. Even if you have to take them out later and put them on the sides or something like that, it really helps keep that soil warm. So that's the 2 points about the soil dropping in temperature, Eco Neighbor. Okay. Lumina Acres is located in Northwest New Hampshire. Crazy. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, okay. So, okay. Yeah. Hey, Halal Family Homestead. I'm just doing what God has placed upon my heart to give to everybody, because, you know, I love to share it too. So I'm getting something out of this too, y'all. I appreciate y'all being here tonight, and I appreciate y'all sitting and listen to me talk about this boring science stuff. I'm going to try to make it fun as I can for y'all though, because, I know how it is, I know how it is. So yeah. Hey, make sure y'all feed your microbiome this season. 100%. Feed it. It's consistent. It's constant. Oh, okay. So Veggie Farm says, hope this cold weather helps keep the mosquito population down. I'm going to tell you what, Veggie Farm, this cold weather, with it being freezing, I'm talking about literally below freezing temperature for longer than 7 days, day and night. This is going to have an impact on your larval stages of all your insects. It's going to kill your dormant flies, your dormant mosquitoes. It's going to kill your dormant just about everything. In fact, I have some neighbors that were saying that like 30 plus years ago, when it got this cold before for this long, they had St. Augustine in their yard, and the St. Augustine died. It didn't just go dormant, it died. Like they literally had to resod their yard because it was so cold. So be on the lookout for some of that crazy stuff going on, and be on the lookout for pipe breaks and stuff like that too, because if you haven't kept these faucets going, even if you have, it's when this stuff thaws out and when you get to using your water in the springtime, be looking out for leaks. But what's up, Broke Farmer 76? What's up, Broke Farmer 76, fam? What's up, my internet cuz? How you doing? How you doing tonight? It's good to have you, my fam. See that it says I never rake my old beds, and it really helped my clay soil improve. Hey, see that it's 100%, because let me tell you something about that nitrification process with the wood chips. If you put those wood chips on the top of your soil and you leave them alone and you don't move them around or nothing like that, you only make little holes to plant your seeds and things like that. But when you leave that stuff alone, let me tell you, man, that there is nitrogen. Our atmosphere is literally like 90+% nitrogen. So even if you don't have nitrogen fixers in your garden's still going to naturally have nitrogen just kind of settling and sequestering into your garden. So if those wood chips sit there over time, they're going to naturally break down. I don't know if y'all see it, but when those when the landscapers put mulch down on all these huge mulch beds, you can see over time, if you pay attention, that those wood chips literally just turn into dust, right? Like not dust, but soil right on top of the soil. They don't even have to be buried. The process happens faster when they're buried and they're submerged under the soil, but they don't even have to really be buried. So, but yes, it improves your clay soil dramatically. It helps it take in water, and it helps it facilitate that aeration that it needs to, and helps with the particle aggregates, because clay soil has super tiny particles. And that's why it pools water on the top, because the water can't penetrate it. But when you add that organic matter to the top year after year after year, the worms, the microbes, everything makes those soil aggregates bigger, and they make the carbon change, which are what helps feed your plants in an organic situation, link, and actually they link and then they break and become more available easier. So you want to be on the lookout for that. Okay. Didn't mean to touch on that for that long, but yeah, it was important. So yes. Hey, no problem. Allow Family Homestead. Real Farmer 76 said he got his pad ready. Well, hey, well, I'm ready to give you some stuff to write in the pad. I got these earbuds in, they keep trying to fall out. So I'm just trying to keep them in, but I'll fix that later. Stinky Puddle Ranch says, I love science. I love science too. Science is baller. Science is cool. I don't care what nobody says. Science is the coolest thing, especially for us gardeners, because it helps us. When we really learn the science of what we're doing as gardeners, it helps us apply that knowledge in a different kind of way. And it really frees us, and it empowers us as well. So yes, knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is very powerful. Eco Neighbor says, you are the best science professor I ever met. So, hey, I gotta do some stuff to get legit. I gotta get some papers because the government says I gotta get some papers. But hey, I'm a strong believer that if you have a passion, if you have a calling, it's going to exude out of you like crazy, especially if you feed yourself with good knowledge and good people and good information. I try to keep good people around me 100% of the time. And it's very important that we protect each other and protect our energy, protect our frequencies, and keep it at the right point. So yeah. Thank you, Eco Neighbor. I appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to just kind of scroll through these comments and we're going to continue with the lesson. lesson. I didn't mean to put it like that, but hey, that's what it is, right? So we're going to continue with it after we scroll through these comments. Halal Family Homestead just said, your handy dandy notebook reminded me of Blue's Clues. The handy dandy notebook. I remember I was watching that as a little kid. Oh man, Blue's Clues. Mosquitoes no longer exist in 2 quacks and 5 clucks farms. Hey, right? Yes, low drip. Hey, yes. So hey, turf therapy, yeah. Hey, how you doing, brother? How you doing? It's good to have you, brother. It's been a busy and productive day. Even though we've been in the house bundled up, I've been trying to keep it going. You know, keep that ball rolling. It's good to see you, my brother. Okay, that shirt, hey, that shirt, hey. Okay, so the tinker's wife said we use wood chips and perennial beds here, and it does amazing things in our soils. Hey, for everything, not just for the woody plants. It does amazing stuff for everything, right? Like wood chips are like gold because those trees shoot roots. They shoot most of their roots like right on the surface, but they'll shoot their tap roots super deep, and they'll access those super deep nutrients. So those wood chips, they are the truth. Hey, just don't use black walnut. Don't use black walnut wood chips. Don't use black walnut wood chips because black walnuts, a little factoid about black walnuts. If you have a black walnut orchard, it will probably be just straight black walnuts because they emit a certain chemical out of their roots that actually kills other plants. And some other plants do that as well. And I'll probably have like a live on that kind of stuff too. But yeah, there's plants that do some crazy stuff like that. Hey, 2 quacks, 5 clucks farms. Yep, the best soils in the woods and forests just because the leaves are breaking down over so many years. 100%. And then you have animals literally coming and dropping the perfect amount of nitrogen back onto the top of the soil. And the balance is just perfect because I always call the fungi like the maestros of the soil, because if you have an aggregate of bacteria and no fungi, it just, you end up with stuff that breaks down super fast. Like your nutrients end up kind of all over the place. But if you have your fungi right, it just does something to the soil that just makes it be just right as far as your water retention, as far as your nutrient exchange, as far as your plant health and things like that. I think wood chips are essential or a woody type material or a lignin based material is somewhat essential for every garden in some regard. If you don't have access to it, that's another thing. But if you can, if they're free, use them because soil yards will deliver them for free. So yeah. And gosh, like I didn't even realize, but I made these notes way too extensive, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna go over them as fast as I can, but mosquitoes are always around. And even in Chicago, Patricia Roberts says we have a good freeze for at least a month. So you have to make sure to keep standing water away. Hey, 100%. Hey, thank you, GG Naturals. Hey, I agree. Science. Appreciate having met you the other night. Thank you, the Tinker's Wife. I appreciate meeting you as well. I appreciate meeting you as well. So, yep. Farmer Q, forget to text you that Clubhouse hired programmers for Android this week. Clubhouse is killer for permaculture rooms. I'm going to have to check out Clubhouse. I've heard good and bad stuff about Clubhouse, but the bad stuff I've heard was from people who probably weren't the best people to be telling me that stuff. They didn't tell me directly. I saw it on someone else's video, but yeah, I want to check out Clubhouse. So yeah, we got to get in touch about that and talk about that because I think that just being able to like get your message heard in other places is important, you know. Allelopathic chemicals. So that's the kind of chemicals that come out of the black walnut roots. That's pretty interesting. I need to look into that more because I think black walnuts can have their benefits as well. Like, especially if you're trying to like do some kind of line to maybe deter growth of plants in general. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Hey, happy to have you, my brother. Is wood chips from a citrus tree good for the soil? So I would say that wood chips from a citrus tree, you're going to end up with a slightly more acidic wood chip base. If your soil is already, alkaline, the compost that I showed earlier, that's an example of an alkaline soil. And let me go right back to that and I'll highlight it really, really fast. So check this out real quick. We're going to add this back to the screen and we're going to make that big again. And we're going to highlight this part right here. So if your soil's pH if your soil, like the top highlight, but if your soil's pH is 7 or higher, typically when you add acidic stuff, it's going to kind of bring a little bit of balance, but you have to always remember that you're going to have to be adding native material to the soil as well to keep that balance from getting too far out of whack. Because yes, you can unlock some really nice nutrients with that, but you have to also make sure to keep things in perspective. And what I mean by keeping things in perspective is making sure that you always bring back the native aggregate material back to the soil base. So the parent material of wherever you live, there's like lacuster and all these kind of crazy stuff. So when I took geology back in the day, I got to learn about the different parent materials that soil comes from. And if you're on the coast, your soil is going to have a different parent material, which means that the actual soil is going to be completely different down the line. Your parent material, think of your soil, all the crumbly good soil that you have, it is a result of your parent material that breaks down over time, years, and you have your soil, your native soil. So when you're doing that, just make sure that you're adding some of that native back to the soil, because you're going to have some like your soil is going to get vibrance. It's going to get color to it because you're adding that material to it that's actually going to be compostable. But if you keep that balance going, you're going to have really good results with it. What are some no's that you have experienced? So Eco Neighbor, I'm going to answer that, but can you elaborate? Like, do you mean like, so some non-negotiables, don't do this, make sure you never do this kind of under any circumstances? Is that what you mean? What's up, Papa Pepper? Glad to have you, brother. Glad to have you. Hey, see that? Thank you. I appreciate that. So we use walnuts to deworm sheep and goats too. Wow. Okay. So going back to the ileopathic. So the tinkerer's wife said ileopathic chemicals are what the black walnuts exude out of their root systems. And then Papa Pepper says that we use those walnuts, which have the ileopathic chemicals within them, to deworm their sheep and goats. And this is a natural way to do this. So, hey, peep that knowledge, y'all. That is epic stuff, and that's powerful stuff. And that's the cool stuff that we can learn in these live streams and as we talk to each other in the YouTube community and stuff like that. But I'm going to definitely be taking that down in my notes as I go back over this stream later. I'm going to watch the stream over probably twice or something like that. Just to kind of, I like to see myself in the live stream so that I can see what I can do to kind of make things flow better and things of that nature. But like I said, I'm off point, I'm off topic, but I don't really care. I don't care at all. We're having a good time. So it may be what is called jugglins. So yeah, that sounds familiar. In black walnut, that is the compound in the tree that hinders other plants from growing in its root zones. Juggalone. Yes, juggalone. That's it. Man, hey, y'all are on point with it. That is exactly what the chemical is called. And I didn't know juggalone actually killed worms and animals. That's awesome. That's epic. Is it the juggalone? I'm not going to just say that because the tinkerer's wife is asking about that. So I'm not going to just say that that's like straight fact. I'm going to wait for them to kind of collaborate and figure that out amongst each other, because I want to know that. That's really awesome. So while we do that, since I'm at the bottom of the comments, that's awesome. I'm at the bottom of the comments. I'm doing pretty good keeping up with them tonight. But yeah, know where your mulch comes from, and then yeah, use what use what you can when all else fails. Like I was saying, like if you can't use anything else, and you have like a lumber company, or you have a tree company that really just has wood chips, and they're just like, hey, we'll deliver free wood chips to your yard. Hey, if you know that those wood chips aren't literal sticks, because sometimes those wood chips that they deliver are a little bit too big. And you remember when I was showing you the paper, or I was showing you the test results, the micron screen of the compost was no bigger than 1/3 of an inch big. And some of that mulch that you get, you'll have 4-inch sticks in that stuff, 5-inch sticks in that stuff. So make sure that they're grinding that stuff down with a good chipper. Obviously, beggars can't be choosers to a big extent, but you know, if they're trying to offload something into your yard, you can kind of be picky about it, you know, a little bit. Okay. Some things that I've learned to never grow and do again. You remember how I said I grew that watermelon and it was 60 feet everywhere? I'm going to grow that watermelon again, but I'm never going to let the vines get out of hand. Because the vines just took over so much that they got into every other bed. They shaded out some of the pepper plants. Your cucurbits are very vigorous, especially your vining types. Even your bushing type cucurbits, which are some of your butternut squashes and things like that, they still get vigorous because they get wide. They get really wide. But your cucurbit stuff, if you don't have a lot of disease running rampant, like if you don't have a lot of squash bugs terrorizing your cucurbits, they're going to go crazy and they're going to take over everything. So that's something specific that I know that I'm never going to do again, is let my vines get out of hand. If I grow a big variety of watermelon, I'm going to allow it to grow 2 to 3 vines. And those 2 to 3 vines are going to be cut at the very tip of the fruit that I get pollinated on those vines. And then I'm going to basically just like pump those watermelon on those vines with all the nutrients. And when I say all the nutrients, I just mean that I'm going to have those 2 vines be the only parts of the plant. So the plant focuses on dedicating all the nutrients to those 2 watermelons. And I'm going to probably grow about 5 to 7 watermelon plants. So I'll end up with about 15 watermelon. And then the small watermelon variety, I'll let them grow a little bit more, but I'll keep those in check too, because those can take over too. But vining anything, be careful with it. Oh my gosh, it will terrorize your soul. So yeah. So Papa Pepper says, yep, we add about 10 mature black walnuts to the water and it turns darker. Wow. So look at that. They're using black walnuts to kill parasites. They're using them to kill worms, which are a form of parasite. Hey, so the jugalone has the allelopathic quality that keeps the bugs, or keeps the other plants, fruits from growing around it, and it actually keeps the parasites from establishing inside of animals. So that is awesome. That is awesome. Hey, Papa Pepper, when I not failed because I had a lot of watermelon, but when I went through that experience, it just made me really want to, it made me really want to not do that again, because I liked watermelon. I liked the taste of it. It's one of my favorite fruit, but I don't want that to be happening. So yes. So I remember, okay. So yeah, a lot of this vining stuff is just ridiculous. It's just crazy. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. So, okay. So now we can get to the plant spacing part. Basically different plants that are different sizes have different space requirements. So when you're reading the back of these seed packets, you really need to be looking out for what they're saying on the back of that seed packet, because like some plants prefer closer spacing. They like to actually be like a lot closer to each other. And then because the companion aspect of things, and a good example of that is corn. They naturally grow really close to each other. And if you don't grow corn close enough to each other, you can't really have natural pollination go on. You would have to have like tassel bags and be able to collect the pollen with these like actual bags that you place over the tassels, which are the flowers that flow in the air and stuff. You'd have to put bags over those tassels, shake those bags up, turn it upside down a little bit, collect that pollen and go and spread it on the corn or whatever. But if you're trying to breed corn, if you're trying to make new varieties, hey, that's an awesome way to do it. Have like 3 corn plants in a bed and have them kind of spaced out from each other, and then take the tassels and apply it to whatever plant that you want, because they're all going to make tassels. Because they all have male and female parts. But if I remember correctly, it's been a while. It's been probably about 3 years. And when I grew that corn, it was Stowell's evergreen white sweet corn. And it grew to like 12 feet tall on some of the plants. It was crazy. It was insane. But yeah, so corn is an example of plants that like to be really close to each other. And then plants that don't like to be so close, or a lot of your peppers really don't care to be so close to each other. People grow them kind of close to each other. But when I say they don't like to be close to each other, a lot of your peppers, especially your mid-sized to bigger bells, they get wide and they start to get oblong and weirdly shaped, and you have to stake them up, and then they become a pepper bush. So you have to, with peppers, you want to have a minimum of, I'd say, about 1.5 feet around each pepper. You can do 1 foot if you're really going to mainline it and make that pepper be like a straight up plant. But if you really want to kind of let that plant have a little bit of space to kind of be a bush, which I like my peppers to be pruned as bushes, by the way. I'm going to actually, I'm going to top all my pepper plants. I'm not going to top the spicy pepper plants because they're already short and squat. But all my taller pepper plants, I'm going to top them now that they're about 6 to 8 inches tall each.
and it's going to make the branches grow out and be a little bit bushier on the structure and make the plant be a little bit more balanced and have a lower center of gravity. So, hey, Papa Pepper, it's been good having you, brother. Like, I'm glad you came tonight. I saw that you just dipped out. But yeah, as far as that goes, proper spacing is important for some plants, for all plants. And then, so having bigger spacing is important for certain plants, and then having closer spacing is important for some plants. But if you space these plants that are not made to be spaced like close to each other, too close, you can not have harvest. Like I had literally 30 broccoli plants that I didn't get to harvest. This frost has just ate it all alive. Like it's all gone or whatever. But I didn't get to harvest it because it didn't grow big enough in time, because it was growing right smack dab beside another broccoli plant, and the nutrients were just getting sucked from all each other. They were competing so hard. But yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hit the chat a little bit, and then we'll continue on. So yeah, I don't want to miss anybody who's leaving. So I'm going to hit the chat for a little bit. Tinker's wife said had a similar situation happen with small gourds, had to cut them back to 40 feet. Yeah, she had to cut them back to 40 feet. That is insane. That is ridiculously insane. Giannis GF Cooking says he has to leave because it's late in the UK. Hey, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, brother, because I know it's late, and that means a lot to me, because I know that, you know, you're probably tired and ready to go already, but for you to come and stop by and hang out with us in the live, hey, it means the world to me, brother. Hey, I'll see you later. I'll see you later, Papa Pepper. Okay, 2 Quacks and 5 Clucks Farm says, I'm looking forward to growing loofah gourds this season. Dry those jokers out and throw some Irish Spring on them. Oh boy, like that's cool. I never thought about doing that before, but yeah, like I'm gonna grow some loofahs this year. Even if I grow just like one plant and I grow like 3 loofahs on it, just to have some loofahs, I'm gonna do it, because, you know, I've seen a few people's videos lately who they actually use the loofahs and everything, and I think it's pretty cool. I think it's really cool. So the tinker's wife said, I've heard both. Wonder if it has to do with variety. Let me see. Okay. Can you elaborate a little bit, tinker's wife? Because I lost that particular train of thought, but I will get right on it if you hit it up. Okay. So Broke Farmer 76 says, should I separate different varieties of tomatoes? So it depends, Broke Farmer. So your tomatoes, you have different sizes of tomatoes, and you have different types of tomatoes. You have basically your cherry tomatoes, which are your smaller varieties of tomatoes. You can space those about a foot. You can space those a foot apart from each other if you really are really good about pruning them and keeping them really, really close together and keeping the structure tight. But if you have your black beauties, your beefsteak tomatoes, your bigger varieties of tomatoes, you want to space those probably about 2 feet apart from each other, circular 2 feet apart from each other at the very least, because you know as well as I do, once tomatoes get going, they do not stop. And so you also have tomatoes that are determinate, and you have tomatoes that are non-determinate. And your non-determinate ones will basically make fruit all year long. They'll make fruit the whole time. And hey, can y'all help me with that? Because I'm not super sure about the determinate and non-determinate tomato varieties. So if y'all could in the chat enlighten me, because I really want to get more to speed about that. But as far as spacing goes, Broke Farmer 76, you want to make sure that you want to have your smaller ones. You can have those close together, your cherry tomatoes, and you want to have your bigger tomatoes spaced farther apart. What's up, Free-Handedly Made? Good to have you. It's good to have you tonight. How are you doing tonight? I know you said that it's pretty cold out there. So how are you holding up? Are you keeping warm over there? Hey, Stinky Puddle Ranch, you have a good evening. It's good having you, fam. I appreciate you taking the time to come hang out with us tonight. 2 Clucks and 5 Quacks Farms. 2 Quacks and 5 Clucks Farms says, time we go into the loofah market and build a loofah empire. I think each loofah produces hundreds of seeds. Wow, I didn't know that. So yeah, I might have to be growing a few more loofahs. I might have to be growing a few more than 3 of them, because if they produce that much, I might just want to be able to store up some of those seeds. Well, I actually saw on Grow Family Network's channel. That loofah is actually edible too. So it doesn't just make the soapy stuff. You can actually eat loofah as well. So I saw Bev's cooking it. So Bev's had cooked it for the Grow Family Network. So yeah. But okay, Tinker's wife said, sorry, that was on pepper varieties that I was talking about in spacing. I heard that some say they have better production if they're close together. So yes, if you want like the mycorrhizal like association with the roots, which is basically the fungi that bind to the pepper's roots, you want to hit the spacing to where they can leg out and they can grow out exactly how they need to, but you want to keep them perfectly within that space because you want the roots to kind of just be tingling and touching each other. You don't want the roots to be like this and tied up and tangled all up, but you want the roots to literally be like this. You want the roots of the plants to start to just kind of touch like that. And when you have canopies that are shoulder to shoulder and the plants are just wide enough, your roots just end up making a web inside the soil. And then what that does is you end up with a stronger mycorrhizal association between your plants. And then your plant's water retention increases, your plant's nutrient uptake increases, the fruit size increases, things of that nature. So it is better to have your peppers generally planted closer together, but you don't want to have them choking each other out. So there is a definite slight differential between that. And there's a line to walk. So it's important that you ask that question. I'm glad you asked that question. Thank you, the Tinker's wife. Okay, glad that helped you out, Broke Farmer. Very true on the small tomatoes. And get those trellises ready. Hey, 2 Quacks, 5 Clucks Farm just said something that is super important about tomatoes. Small varieties, big varieties alike. Get a tomato cage or get a trellis and string those bad boys up to that thing, because tomatoes just don't like the tomatoes that they don't care about their structure. They will grow and they will crack, they'll break themselves, they'll do all kinds of crazy stuff. So if you stake those plants up, the fruit will actually produce better as well, because believe it or not, plants, they have only so much energy to dedicate to every single process of the growing of the plant. Keeping the plant held up with its structure is very important. And if you can achieve that through trellising or through actually stringing it up to a structure, you can actually have the fruit be produced better and more quickly and have a higher sugar content within the fruit, Brix level. Not like actual sugar, but the fruit can actually have a higher Brix level because you actually support it. Gardening is a whole bunch of small little things that all add together to be a huge thing that comes together to a finale. So that finale is you harvesting, and all these little processes play into it. Thank you, Tinker's wife. Okay, Determinate have a determined number of flowers on the plant. Perfect, thank you. And they will only get so tall. Yes, perfect. Non-determinate tomatoes will, if conditions are right, keep growing and keep producing fruit. Yes, so keep that in mind too, Broke Farmer. The non-determinate fruit are going to just keep raging, and you're going to have to cut those and cut those and cut those and cut those until the frost comes around and you're actually able to have them just die back, or whatever the case may be, or when the temperature gets so low to where they're not in production for the season anymore. But yeah, the determinate tomatoes are better for a lot of people who want to actually phase in different crops of tomatoes, and they want to try different varieties. They want to just kind of phase them in, because once you get that timing down, because you're taking cuttings or whatever you might be doing, you can actually, to the day, phase different plants in and out. And when you do that, you can actually create a situation where you're just getting so much out of whatever space you have. Like if you have 1,000 square feet of growing area, you can produce so much out of that area. I remember Turf Therapy was talking about, he saw on someone's channel that they had 1,000 square foot bed and they could not keep up with all the food coming out of it because they were growing it to its highest standard. So yeah. Freehandedly Made said, keeping warm, just trying to keep ahead of the snow. I feel you on that. So don't keep, okay. So Seed Addict says, don't keep different varieties of tomatoes too close. If you're saving seeds for those individual varieties, you'll have hybrids next season. Great point, Seed Addicts. If you're growing and you want to keep seed for next year, next season, and everything, hey, you want to keep in mind, hey, like you don't want to have hybrids of everything, because those plants might not grow like their parents and they might grow all kinds of wonky. So if you're going to grow the same varieties, grow them all close. And Grow them close and grow them at the same time if you want to. But if you're going to grow different varieties, you need to either be growing determinate tomatoes that you phase out to the day and you actually get them pollinated at just the right times and you're taking the seeds off of them as you harvest the tomatoes and things like that. Or you can just take the non-determinate and then you can just cut them at a certain time. But you want to really be on lookout if you're doing pollination and things like that, because it's very easy to mess that whole situation up. So if you're doing breeding of plants, it's just more legible to just have one variety in that area and maybe go 100 yards that way and then do another experiment, but then still stagger that other planting because bees will carry it far and wide. So you have to be on the lookout for that. Hey, Hands in the Dirt, how you doing tonight, brother? How you doing? I'm glad to have you, bro. It's YouTube class night. Hey, I'm glad to bring it. I'm just trying to keep it fun. Just throw some Dove on it and some salt. Just throw some Dove on it and some salt. Hey. Okay. Wait. When you say Dove, do you mean the bird? Because I'm not gonna lie, two quacks, five clucks farm. When you said throw some Dove on it, I was thinking you were meaning throw some Dove soap on it and throw some salt on it because you're just joking around. Do you mean like the bird Dove? And just let me know. Tinker's wife says, I'm digging this. Plant nerd me is loving this. I don't get to talk nerdy stuff too often. That's what I'm saying. You know, I don't get to talk about this stuff as often as I want to because I just nerd out and I'm just like, I don't want to overwhelm everybody. So, hey, if y'all want to hop in the live, leave the live, you know, do what you want to do. It's dope to me. You know, I'm like, this is cool. I'm just talking. I'm just a talking dude. And if y'all stick around and hang out with me, I appreciate that 100%. But like, this is class, and this is class in the sense that I'm the instructor that's like, hey, go do your thing. You know, go shoot some hoops, go cook your dinner, whatever. When you get back, it'll be here because you can rewatch it later too. So there you go. I appreciate that, the Tinker's wife. Okay. I'm going to hit some more messages in the chat and then I'm going to get to the pest prioritization part of the lesson. And hey, I'm going to try to make that quicker because this is just half the stuff I got, y'all, for tonight. So, hey, if we hanging, we hanging. That's what's going on right now. So when we go through the pest stuff, it's going to get a lot more interesting though, because I feel like pests is just something that people, they just deal with. They're like, oh, they just grind their teeth while they're growing and things like that. And they're like, man, you know, I'm just going to deal with what these bugs ate. But there are organic ways to deal with these pests that you're eating your vegetables from and everything like that. So we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. And I got a few different items that I'm going to show when it comes to the pest stuff. So there we go. Okay, let's go to the chat. All right. Tinker's wife said trellis early on tomatoes. Use 6-inch cages made from the stabilizing wire grid used in cement work and other methods. Hey, that's awesome. I'm going to definitely be getting some of that because that reminds me a little bit of the bonsai stuff. You know, like when you take the bonsai trees and you shape the branches to be exactly where you want them to be. That reminds me of that, the Tinker's wife. So I'm going to definitely be using that advice. I think that's really solid. They're great for smaller space gardeners as well. Hey, 100%. And cherry tomatoes, a lot of the times you can find varieties of cherry tomatoes that have like this like subtle tropical taste to them. And they don't have so much of that tomato-y taste to them. I know that sounds crazy, right? Oh, I'm growing tomatoes and I don't want them to taste so tomato-y. Well, there's something for everybody. And the cherry tomatoes provide, I feel like, quite a bit more variety of subtle flavors, whereas to the bigger tomatoes have more variety of the actual bold flavors. And there are some bold flavored cherry tomatoes as well, but I like the subtlety of the cherry tomatoes. I can just pop one in and keep it moving, you know, That big tomato, I'm just like, home. It's like, I don't even like tomatoes, but I'm just home. I'm gonna be honest with y'all too. Some of the stuff that I eat out of the garden, I really don't like taste wise, but I just eat it. I'm just like, whatever, yo. This is good for my body, and my taste buds they'll change as I get older, whatever. But I'm just gonna eat it because I want to feel good. because something about me, y'all, if I eat bad food, it just makes my body feel horrible. It makes me have a bad attitude towards people. It just changes my energy, changes my aura. So I try to keep clean food coming in me, because if I get that dirty going too often, because moderation is key, it just kind of messes with me a little bit. So, hey, thank you so much, GG Naturals. Thank you. I love this. I love this too. Just hanging out with y'all. We're just hanging out. So, okay, I'm gonna get through this chat so we can get back to the lesson. All right. The book Seed to Seed by Suzanne Ashworth has very good studied information on spacing on tomatoes and other plants for best practices in seed saving. Hey, write that down, y'all. I'm going to keep that up for a minute. I'm going to read some of the other chats, but I'm going to keep that up because that's important. I really like literature to be a part of our repertoire as gardeners, because it's important that we soak in other people's experiences through their written details. Okay, so Hands in the Dirt says pruning tomatoes is very important. Removing sucker is very important for tomato size. 100%. If you take those suckers and you prioritize certain tomatoes, like I'd say, it depends on the size of the tomatoes, but you want to make sure that you keep the size proportionate with how many fruit you have on the plant, because you don't want that plant to get unstable. And like I said, trellising will help with that stability of the plant despite it having an abnormal amount of fruit. But you want to also keep an eye on the amount of suckers, because when you have too many fruit on a plant, it actually starts to take away from the capabilities to produce sizable fruits. So there you go. Hey, Unprotected Lex, how you doing? I'm glad you came tonight. Are you talking dove meat? We're still asking that question. The tinker's wife. I'm still wondering it too, because I'm like, because he said put Irish Spring on the loofahs earlier, and now I'm like, does he mean Dove, like the actual soap? Hey, Broke Farmer says I'm soaking, just slow soaking. Hey, well, we got to soak it at our different speeds, but hey, as long as we soaking something, we growing and we learning. There we go. We hanging. Hey, that's what I'm saying. Hey, Growing with Hudson, how you doing tonight? I'm glad to have you. And sneak. Okay, so Hands in the Dirt says you have to really watch how close you plant certain plants, because you will get cross pollination. I've had a few strange looking cucumbers. Hey, it's all in good fun, right? No, but hey, 100% what Hands in the Dirt said. If you're trying to keep your seeds and keep the integrity of your seeds, you got to really watch what you're planting close together, because it'll mess you up. Pit Stop Kitchen and Garden said, by the way, Pit Stop Kitchen and Garden, I don't know if I said hey to you tonight, but how you doing, Pit Stop Kitchen and Garden fam? What's up? How you doing? Glad to have you. But okay, Pit Stop says that she's dealing with aphids right now. So stick around, because I got something for you. I'm gonna show you some stuff that I do when I'm dealing with aphids, and yeah, I'll show you some of that. So, okay, we're getting close to the bottom. Thank y'all for saying hey to each other. That really helps me out. Helps me out a lot. Okay, Pitts, what are you using on the aphids? Yeah, let us know, and then I'll show you what I use for aphids on my side too. What pests like cucumbers? Okay, Growing with Hudson, I'm glad you asked that question. So squash beetles, cucumber beetles, they love cucumbers, and what they will do is they will leave a bacterial wilt on the leaves. I'm not sure if it's fusarium wilt to be specific, because these wilts have different names, because they're actual bacteria that infects the plants. But so squash bugs, cucumber beetles, squash bugs, they're piercing sucking parts. When they bite onto the cucumber plant, they inject the bacterial wilt into the leaf. And then that bacterial wilt, whatever the wilt is actually called on these cucumber watermelon plants, they constrict water from actually accessing the leaves of the plant and the stem of the plant from the roots. So essentially, these cucumber beetles, if they get crazy enough, they can literally stop your plant from being able to uptake water. So if y'all have noticed some of your squash having super droopy leaves when the sun comes out, yeah, they naturally do that. But sometimes they literally are just wilted out from these squash bugs, cucumber beetles, just injecting all kinds of disease into the plant. So that's why we got to take care of these pests, and we got to have a way to deal with them, and deal with them in a safe way to where we're happy eating the food afterwards. So moving forward, Pit Stop Kitchen Garden, I feel for you. Last year was the year of the aphid here in Northwest Oregon, so I get it. Oh, man. Heard and understood. Every year we keep a cherry grape tomato by the back door just for a quick snack. Hey, That sounds like a plan right there. I'm gonna be doing that this year. Okay, so The Tinker's Wife, excellent read. I have that book, and it is most excellent. I saved me many seeds. Hey, I'm gonna get that book, by the way. When I rewatch this, so I'm not gonna write it down right now because I'm trying to keep focused on what I'm doing. But when I rewatch this, I'm definitely gonna write that book down because I am a ready. I'm a foodie and I'm a ready. So let's see here. Hey, we're making progress. What's up? Come on. How you doing? Come on, brother. How you doing? It's good to have you, brother. Okay. Quick question. How long can you let bare roots sit in water? It depends on a few things. If the water, where does the water come from? So if it's a clean water source, typically your roots can last a little bit longer sitting bare inside of that water source. If the water is too hot or too warm, you allow for different types of root rot to develop on the particular root. So if you have bare roots inside of water, I recommend that you have some kind of way to know the temperature of that water. Keep the temperature range from anywhere from about 65 degrees, 63 to I'd say 63 degrees to about 72 degrees is the magical range for bare root stuff, and not allowing certain bad guys to develop in that actual media, because that's what you're doing. You're like, when you put bare roots inside of water, you're creating a media, which is what your soil is, but that water is responsible for maintaining the life of that plant. So try to keep the temperature right and try to make sure it's from a clean water source. Unless you're growing hydroponically, but that's a different conversation. I got too deep on that. Okay, so I'm gonna skip some, but I didn't do it on purpose. It's my fault, y'all. Slap my hand for it. Slap my hand. I'm gonna skip some of the message. Hey, see you later, broke farmer. Glad to have you, my brother. I bait to see you, huh? Finally began melting here today. Had ice falling from 100. Wow, that's crazy. You're coming for Foodie's branch. LOL. The Tinker, growing with husband said, my sugar cane is growing well inside. Hey, hey, that's awesome. I don't even have sugar cane yet, but I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna find somebody who has a cutting of something and try to buy it. So yeah, anybody who has some sugar cane, let me know. Shoot me an email at I'll put a link in my email real quick so y'all can just have that. But yeah, if any of y'all have sugar cane for sale, just let me know and I will be happy to buy it. Okay, so Hands in the Dirt says white flies and pests I had issues with last year. Hate them. And squirrel. Oh my gosh, squirrels. Oh my gosh, I do not like me some squirrels. Squirrels are annoying. Little tree rats. No. Hey, they're cute. They're cute, I guess. That counts for something, right? But I remember when I lived in my other house, I had I would go outside every morning and just kind of sit on the back porch. And this squirrel would literally come within 3 feet of me and sit there and eat his acorn every morning. He would sit right beside me, 3 feet from me in that same spot every morning and eat his acorn. One day I got up and I just took a step towards the squirrel and it literally didn't move. It just was happy right there. So I just let the squirrel be there. That was the cool squirrel. That was the one cool squirrel in my past. GG Natural said, I got squirrels for sale. Oh yeah, the dogs would taunt the squirrels. No, the squirrels would taunt our dogs. So I might post a short later if I have it in my phone still, but there was these squirrels in our old apartment complex that they would sit in the trees and wait for us to bring the dogs outside, and then they would literally just chirp, 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 and just taunt our dogs. And they would be outside in the window where the dogs could see them and just taunt them in the window. They're just, those squirrels, man, they're too much. They will mess with your animals too. Okay, she said, leave the squirrels alone. They're cute. All right, y'all. So we're going to continue on with the lesson. We got pest prioritization, and we're going to wrap it up. The pest prioritization is going to be a little bit quicker. It's going to be a little bit easier to go through because it's going to be a little bit more relatable. All of it's relatable, but it's going to be, it hits home because these pests, they mess with our babies, and we got to do something about these pests. They mess with our babies, and they cause us way too much trouble. We got to do something. So, all right. first pest topic that we will touch on is indoor pest control, or indoor versus outdoor pest control. The way, so there's like a complete different set of rules when it comes to indoor pest management from outdoor pest management. And you got to remember, we'll talk about outdoor a little bit first, but outdoor pest management or outdoor pest control is really focused on diversity, because when it comes to outside, you can, unless you're just trying to toxify everything, it's really hard to completely eradicate everything. So what you want to do outside is create a situation where your beneficial insects, rove beetles, beneficial nematodes, things like that, you want to make sure that those are in the environment, because let me tell you something about these rove beetles. These rove beetles are little assassins. You can find them on arbicoorganics.com, and they're kind of expensive, and I'd really use these for indoors more so, if you're not scared of rove beetles crawling around your grow space. But they only will stay in the soil, so no worries. But you can put them outside too. But rove beetles, a fun fact about rove beetles, one adult rove beetle eats 200 insect eggs a day. Let that sink in. If you have 50 rove beetles in your garden, you're going to have 10,000 eggs eaten a day. That's some serious competition. That's serious competition. And honestly, they reproduce like crazy. Rove beetles are the most amazing beneficial insect that you will have in your garden. A lot of people don't know about them, because I didn't know about rove beetles at first myself. But when I actually got rove beetles and applied them for the first time, I was amazed, because let me tell you what rove beetles did for me. On top of everything that I'm doing still to this day as far as my management practices, they completely eradicated fungus gnats for me indoors. Completely. Like, you can't find a single fungus gnat. And if a fungus gnat were to get into the area, they can't establish. They just can't. And the cool thing about rove beetles is they like organic matter too. So once their whole food source is gone, they don't leave. They stick around. They stick around and just eat decaying organic matter and like leave bug poop for your plants to have nutrients. So they're like the one size fits all beneficial insect. Rove beetles. Remember that. ROVE beetles. Yeah. So now that I touched on the rove beetles a little bit, we're gonna talk about a few of the approaches that we can take on the outdoor end of the spectrum dealing with pests. One of the things, like I just said, is beneficial insects, but you have to make sure that these beneficial insects are targeting the nymph phase of the actual pest, because if they're targeting the beginning phases or the baby phases of the pest, they're going to stop the lineage of the pest from actually going on and everything. So that's really important. But the second point about the outdoor pest prevention is trap plants. So there are particular plants out there of most varieties, like there's like a blue baby squash or something like that. But like there's plant varieties there's varieties of every plant that draw more pests than their neighboring plants. So you can use these plants strategically. Like if you have an area of butternut squash and you're trying to keep your pests off of that butternut squash, you can actually plant that blue baby squash or whatever it was called. And you can find that out later, because these are well-known plant varieties. But if you plant one of those in the midst, kind of spaced away from them, but in the midst of those plants over there, you can actually treat that particular plant for the aphids, for the whiteflies, for the everything else, because it's drawing most of the actual pests. And then the thing about that is too, these plants have been kind of bred over time to have more of a resilience to the actual pests. So they draw the pest, but they tolerate the pests eating the heck out of them. I think that's really amazing. I think that's super amazing. But yeah, rove beetles are cool. I see people mentioning that in the chat. Beetles in the house, that's a no. And like I said, some people are not going to be cool with that. And that's fine. Like that's why we have the other approaches that we'll be talking about. When we get to the indoor aspects of the pest control, like I got some of this stuff over here. This is a preview of the indoor aspects. So this is leaf tonic and neem from Mountain Organics. And you don't have to get all fancy like that. Just a really good source neem is really good. But we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. But going back to the trap plants, hey, keep in mind that if these plants are drawing all of your aphids, drawing all of your whatever they're drawing, and you're treating that one plant, you're creating a focus point that you can keep those pest numbers down. And this is for outdoor. because your outdoor, your trap plants is just a perfect little scenario. If you can't do the trap plants, 2 plants that you can grow in your garden in between some of your other plants: marigold flowers, calendula flowers. So these 2 flowers, as well as ajuga plants, are really good at keeping those pests just really suppressed. Your calendulas and your marigolds, there you go. There are certain marigolds. I think the French marigold actually is the marigold that has the highest concentration of whatever the chemical is to actually keep those pests away. But calendulas are one of those plants that actually helps with that a lot too. But people don't really know about the flowers a lot. Yeah. So garlic and onions, I saw Growing with Hudson just linked the garlic and onions. So garlic and onions are good at keeping certain pests away too. So having the garlic, the onions, the calendula, the marigolds, having those things in tandem with each other are really going to help you to kind of keep stuff away in a broad spectrum just from the flowers being there. And you could always plant those on top of your trap, not like on top, but maybe plant those around your actual like plants that you don't want the pest to be at, and then plant your trap plant away from your plants and have them drawn to that. So you have a repelling agent around your actual plants that you'll harvest, which are the flowers. And then you'll have in the middle area, you have a trap plant that actually draws the pests. How you doing, Lori's World? I'm glad to have you tonight. Yes, marigolds are very pungent. Okay, so growing with Donnie, ideally, how far away from your non-trap plants would you want to plant them? Marigolds and calendula included. So a good example, if you have pepper plants that are being plagued by aphids, and there is a particular pepper that is drawing a lot of the aphids or things like that. If you're planting your peppers like 1.5 feet away from each other, as far as your spacing, I would go ahead and make that trap plant be about 2.5 feet away from those plants. And then as far as the calendulas and marigold, I would give them about 6 to 8 inches away and kind of plant them in somewhat of a ring, but not a complete ring. Maybe like a north, south, east, west kind of a configuration, and kind of have a small group of that particular beneficial flower around the plant. So that's what I would do personally. And you could always look online and kind of source some information of how somebody would plant their beneficials and plant their trap plants and things like that. But yeah, when I was in Colorado, I actually planted some of that blue baby squash or whatever. And we had a squash beetle infestation. And let me tell you, that plant looked like a moving, living squash beetle because they were covering that one plant so heavily that it was an effective way to draw those pests in and keep them at bay. So keep that in mind. Okay. Growing with Hudson said, I got some calendula on the way because of GG Naturals for my skin. Hey, that's what we're here for. You know, we give each other these insights and give each other these tips and the directions to go. So Tinker's wife said, I have rove beetle here, but they are the ones that eat earthworms. Oh, man, that stinks. You don't want the earthworms to be ate up. You don't want the earthworms to be ate up. But how you doing, Canadian Proud Get Outdoors? How you doing? Hey, better late than never, but never late is better. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm glad to have you, my brother. I'm glad to have you. No, but yeah. So as we kind of shift to the indoor aspect of pest control, and we'll wrap it up after this one. Hey, we're almost to the finish line, y'all. We're almost there. But as we shift to the indoor aspect of pest control, like, we have to realize that indoor pest control is way more contingent, way more important to have a management program. And it's typically known as IPM, which is Integrated Pest Management. And what IPM really does for you is allows you to create a paradigm that you can prevent pests from ever penetrating your actual grow space on the inside. So super important. So that being said, I was going to show you a few different products that I use for my integrated pest management program. And if y'all just kind of keep up with videos and things like that over time, I'll actually show you the applicate like the mixing, the application. I actually have a backpack blower that I use for my professional jobs when I do organic pesticide application. Like I have a backpack blower that literally it's a mister. It's a backpack mister, and it literally can reach 70 feet into trees. Yes, it's awesome. And I use that for my organic pesticide application, and it is amazing. So that being said, I'm going to show you the main wetting agent that I use inside of my organic pesticides. And this is awesome. My earphone's falling out. So this is Jadam wetting agent. You can make this stuff at home on your own. There's like 1,000 different recipes online, but essentially what this stuff is, maybe I can get the it says it includes, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that doesn't show up well, but it includes filtered water, certified organic canola oil, and potassium hydroxide. Potassium hydroxide is just lye. It's like the stuff that we used back in the day to make soap. But yes, this stuff is an amazing wetting agent. It literally, I've had this bottle right here, and I've used it outdoors at professional jobs and everything. And I've used it for my inside. I've used it for my outdoor garden and everything. And it's still 3/4 of the way full because I use like literally 2 tablespoons per 3 gallons or something like that. And I put 3 gallons in my sprayer, and I can spray literally with 3 gallons worth of misting agent. I can spray a half acre. I can spray a half acre of this stuff with 2 to 3 tablespoons. 2 to 3 tablespoons of this wetting agent. And obviously, you're going to add something on top of this to kind of give it that oomph it needs. And you don't really have to add anything on top of this, really. But this Jadam wetting agent, I've sprayed this alone consistently. And what it does is it coats, when you put this inside of water, it coats the insect's body and pretty much suffocates the insect. So when you directly apply it to an insect, they're going to die. Like if they breathe through their actual skin, which most bad guy insects actually do. And the funny part about this wetting agent stuff, I've sprayed this on top of soil with the good soil mites, the rove beetles. It doesn't kill the rove beetles. It doesn't kill the soil mites. It doesn't kill any of the good stuff, but it kills all the bad stuff. Aphids, fungus gnats larvae, things like that. So Jadam wetting agent, amazing stuff. And let me take this off the chat real quick. But yeah, it's all natural. It's great stuff. It's like $25 on Amazon or something like that. And like I said, I'm on year 2 with this stuff. This stuff is amazing. So what I use inside my Jadam wetting agent is this stuff right here. So I just add like literally per gallon, like 5 milliliters of this leaf tonic and neem from Mountain Organics Botanicals. So I read the list of ingredients on one of my other videos, but I'm going to read y'all the list of ingredients on this stuff right here. And it was kind of costly, but I've had this stuff for about 5 months now, and I use it a lot. I use it a whole lot because like I said, IPM, I manage my pest situation. So I never allow the pest to actually get to a level to where they can establish anything. But okay, we're going to read these ingredients. 100% organic ingredients: fresh aloe vera, neem oil, extracts of neem leaf, bark and seed, kelp, soap nut, fenugreek, alfalfa, crimson clover, red clover, horsetail, rosemary, stinging nettle, comfrey, alfalfa, another alfalfa, yarrow, star anise, lemongrass, lemon verbena, peppermint, tulsi, citrus peel blend, lemon, bitter orange, sweet orange, and grapefruit, chamomile, essential oils of peppermint and lemongrass, vegetable glycerin, and purified water. Yes. So when I'm spraying this stuff, it is like aromatherapy. It literally, I like to spray this stuff just so it just opens up the senses. I'm telling you, this stuff right here, I would use this for bathing soap if it was recommended for that purpose because it smells so good. But it literally wrecks. So if you put this on top of the wetting agent, it will kill like any pest. Like I'm not even like if you apply this and hit the pest with it, like it will kill the pest. Like I have not seen anything that this is the one size fits all like pest application agent. And when I use this stuff, I go in with complete confidence. I just spray the whole room with it. I'll spray like, I won't spray the walls or nothing, but I'll kind of like, I'll spray the area. Like if I have plants in the area, I'll just spray the area with it. So Stinky Puddle Ranch, I've read, so check this out. So yeah, Stinky Puddle Ranch. Like this is one of my go-tos. This is one of my codexes. Like this book right here. If you read this book right here and you apply, so The Tinkerer's Wife. If you email that, I'm gonna send a link to my email again. If you send me an email, I will send you a direct link to all the products that I have, and I'll show you all the products that I have in this video, and then we can kind of talk about more stuff too, and I'll be showing more products in different live streams. But yeah, this book is like gold. Like, get this book. I'll have a link to it, so I'll probably be leaving a link to all the products in this video after the live stream as well, so you can just look in the link and you'll be able to see this stuff. But this book right here, man, oh my gosh, this is a box of Wheaties. You need this every morning right here. Yeah, you need this, two quacks. This is amazing. But okay, hey Canadian, I appreciate that. I was thinking the other day after one of your videos, you're good to listen to, and you should do an audio talk once a week, and I can listen to at work and gather info weekly. Would be fun. Okay. I like that kind of insight. I appreciate that. So I'm going to definitely be doing this consistently. I'm going to be doing this either once or twice a week. So I will be doing a live stream probably twice a week. I just really want to do it twice a week. It's on my heart. It's been what's been kind of sitting on my heart. I need to go live twice a week and just kind of do an informational rundown. Some people might be able to get on this live. Some people might be able to get on that live, and I might do one earlier in the day, like at noon or something like that. And then I might do one later at night like this, so that we can get more people involved and just kind of talk about this stuff. But yes, so check this out, y'all. I'm going to show y'all one more book that I use in both of these books. So this book right here has everything that on that, like the Jadam stuff. It teaches you how to make that stuff. So you can make like a 55-gallon barrel of the stuff and never have to get it again. But this book right here teaches every pest management practice that I use. This is like what I learned my pest management practices from. I can literally spray my pest stuff on me and just be happy and never get hurt from it. So yeah, but I wanted to show y'all one more book real quick. So this book is called The No-Till Organic Vegetable Farm, and it's by Daniel Mays. So this book is really, 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 really good at teaching you how to do no-till in a proper way, because a lot of people have misconceptions about no-till and they don't really understand the basis behind what you're trying to do when you do a no-till garden, because it's kind of ironic that with the no-till garden, you don't have to, but it's preferred that you till it before you get started. So they're like, what? It's no-till, right? But yes, you got to start from a good base. But hey, this book is amazing. I'm still in the process of actually reading it. It's actually a little bit more technical than the Jadam book. The Jadam book is perfect for beginners. The Jadam book, if you read that book, you will understand it. Like, even if you haven't gardened before, it just lays it out for you perfectly. But this book right here, this kind of takes it up a notch. But this book right here, if you want to start a farm, this has everything you need to know inside of it. Obviously, I lean on my community for people and insight from people who actually have farms. But the technical stuff in this book will blow your mind, like boom. So yeah, this is another book that I like. And these are the only two books I'm going to show tonight. But I got more books that I read, but show that later. But yeah, so now that I've shown that, I'll just show y'all real quick before we close out, because yeah, we've reached the end of the lesson, but I wanted to show y'all one little item real quick that I use to apply my indoor sprays. So I got this from Ace Hardware for $7. This thing was $7. I got it about 8 months ago. It has a nice watering wand on it. Get this in the frame. It has a nice watering wand on it, And this little, I'm not flipping you off. This little gray piece right here, if you flip it up while you're watering or while you're spraying, because it is a waterer and a sprayer, you can actually continue the flow, and it actually like locks it in place. So, oh, oops. It actually has something in it. I was going to show y'all, but yeah, I'm not going to show y'all because it actually has something in it. But yeah, if you press the gray tab down, it locks down the mechanism and you can actually free flow it and everything. What's up, Renee's Garden? Okay, Growing with Hudson. Next time I'm going to have popcorn. I'm going to have popcorn next time because I've gotten multiple requests to have popcorn going in the back. He was supposed to break out. They're calling me out. They're calling me out. They're calling me out about the popcorn. I got to have it. Renee's Garden, how you doing tonight? How you doing tonight? Canadian Proud Get Outdoors says that they almost have the same one. And yeah, but yeah, cheddar popcorn. Tiffany. Hey, you're supposed to be on my side, Tiffany. You're supposed to be on my side. Nah, but Turf Therapy said, "Yep, they're all okay. What kind of corn are you gonna grow to pop it in?" Okay, so I'm glad you asked that. So I'm gonna be growing Stowell's Evergreen Sweet Corn again, and I'm also gonna be growing. I'm gonna be growing the there's corn that Renee's. Not Renee's. I'm sorry, Renee's Garden. There's corn that TT's Pantry sent me, and I'm going to grow that variety as well, but I'm not exactly sure what variety that is, but I'm not really sure if these are popping corns, but I don't care. I'm going to grow them and try to pop them anyway. But one of the things that I want to do is make my own homemade cornmeal for some cornbread. You know, I want to make my own cornbread, but I don't know if there's particular types of corn that is more advantageous for that. I know that you probably should use sweet corn to make cornmeal for cornbread, though. So yeah. But yeah, we'll spend a little time in chat before we head out. If y'all have anything that y'all want to ask, any questions, if y'all want to come up and talk to me for a little bit, I'll leave a link to the StreamYard. This is not really you can come, you don't have to, you can, but it's open. I'm going to leave it open for questions. You can come and ask me a question. You can ask me a question in chat. We're going to do this for about 10 minutes or so, and then we're going to deuce out and we're going to be done with it. So I'll give it like 3 to 5 minutes. And if we don't have any questions, we're going to say our good nights, and we're going to be like, yeah, we're going to do it like that thing that when I always say bye. So yeah, but yeah, any questions? Okay. So, wow, that sounds great. Making your own cornmeal. Yes. I'm excited. I know that I probably need a lot of corn for it though. I know that I'll probably have to grow like 12 or more corn plants just to get a single amount of corn that I need to make a batch of cornbread. I don't know what the ratio is, but I imagine that it's insane because when you take ground stuff like that and you're concentrating it, it just, it makes the process way more demanding, if you will. So I'll probably end up growing a lot of corn this year in one of my beds. I'll probably grow like a half bed of corn or something like that with maybe 16 plants in it, maybe 12 plants in it, and just do it like that. So yeah. Oh, you got to research the corn for the cornbread thing. Hey, I'm on it. I'm going to do it. So next live I do, remind me. If you're here, remind me, and I will have looked the cornbread thing up because that's something I really want to get into. That's something I really want to get into. Because I like Jiffy, and I know that Jiffy probably isn't the best thing for us. So if I can make a cornbread that's a little bit healthier or a little bit better for me, that'd be good. But I will tell you, Tiffany Cherie, she made some cornbread the other day. I'm not going to even lie to you. It was like some gluten-free cornbread that had that she added some actual corn to it and chopped up some green onions and added that to it. And it was so good. I don't know. I was trying to, you know how you speculate about something before you try it. You're like, what is this stuff over here? Why I want to eat that stuff? Why I want to eat that? And then you try it and you're like, and you try to save face. You're like, you're eating it. You're like, and then you know the wife's looking at you. You're like, it's all right. It's all right. No. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That was my favorite cornbread that I ever had. The one that she made that night, and we went through it quick. We went through it quick, by the way. So, okay. So turf therapy brought up a really good point. So growing with Donnie said, "Wow, it's not." Wait, not okay. So she asked. Okay. Why do corn stalks only have 2 cobs? And so not all of them do. Turf therapy said this. He answered that. He said not all of them do, and that's correct. So my Stow's evergreen white sweet corn that I grew, the ones that got to like 12 feet tall, they had 4 cobs of corn on it. 4 cobs of corn each on every plant. And I was just like, whoa. So yeah, but they're super heavy feeders. Like what Turf says, you have to be on point with getting your compost in there. You have to be on point with getting your amendments in there, because if they starve out in the middle of the season, if they pucker out at any given point, you're not going to be able to catch back up to them. They sequester nutrients like no other plant out there. I'm telling you, they are crazy. They will go nuts. So yeah, but yep. Okay. What would you plant to attract ladybugs and predatory wasps? What I would plant personally, I would plant butterfly bush. I would plant salvia. So butterfly bush, salvia. What is that plant called? A desert willow. So your desert willow trees, I don't know. So the predatory wasp, I'm not speaking on experience with that because I haven't really seen the predatory wasp. Like, well, if you're talking about like just the hornets and all that stuff, yeah. But yeah, like anything sweet will attract that. But like as far as the ladybugs, your pollinators, your beneficial insects and things like that, look at your, okay, so yeah, like I said, the calendulas earlier, look at your calendulas, look at your marigolds, look at your salvias, look at your butterfly bushes. All of these plants that have pungent smells to them, all these plants that have like these crazy smell profiles and expressions, they usually will draw all of your beneficial stuff that likes to eat other insects and things like that. So like by default of the pollinators being there, it's like it creates a little ecosystem. Tiffany Cherie says yes, so we can make some cornbread. I'm so with it. I'm so with the cornbread. So okay, so Tinker's wife said, it's a huge difference because they remove things from the corn before milling it, and the stuff you buy retail. A friend in North Carolina grows and grinds her own. I'm going to definitely. So what I'll be doing is I'll be taking this sponge right here, and I'll be going on YouTube probably later and looking up videos of people making their homemade cornbread. And I'm going to just like soak it all up. And whenever I'm in the next live, or whenever the Tinker's wife asks about the cornbread making process, I'm going to just be able to like regurgitate it. That's how I work, y'all. I just read stuff, I apply it, and I just do it. That's just how I like to do stuff. Yes, grow with Donnie. Jiffy is awful. You got to make your own. Yes, I don't want to eat Jiffy no more. I want to be released from my shackles. Okay. Muddy Boots Gardner, what's up? How you doing, my brother? So he said, I planted Walla Walla onions. What's your take on growing them? So onions are pretty much like growing a grass that has a little bit more of a nutrient requirement. As far as the onions go, since you're planting them from seed, the bunching onion, are they bunching onions? The Walla Walla? But yeah, you're not planting the bulb-based onions, so you really don't have to do anything special to get those onions to grow for you or anything like that, I would think. But as long as you put them out before any threats of frost, but right on the very cusp of it, because they prefer that cooler weather kind of deal. But yeah, you're up north, so just be careful. You're looking out for not freezing them, but you're gonna have all the heat you need when the sun's out. So yeah. That sounds good. Hey, I'm with you. Sounds really good. For Angelica, and I think it's okay for ladybugs. Angelica. So Angelica is an awesome plant because in the Jadam book there are herbal they're called like herbal extracts, and they're part of the pest regimen. So you can like mix the Jadam wetting agent with some of these herbal extracts. And one of the herbal extracts comes from Angelica root. And the Angelica root is actually, it has some pesticidal qualities to it, and it's pretty awesome. So the Angelica seems like it's also a beneficial attractant for ladybugs. I didn't know that, but that's awesome to know, because that's more of a reason to actually grow it in your garden. So homemade sweet cornbread is good. Hey, you said enough. You just said enough. So I'm going to grow the corn plants and I'm going to make the cornbread, but I just got to figure out the process behind it. Man, he said, I used to have a recipe for cornbread and lost it. Never been the same. So I'm always on the hunt for a new recipe. That's a bummer. That is a bummer. But yeah, like, isn't that the worst when you lose an age-old recipe that has been used for generations and generations, and Google just can't do it for you? It's like that old recipe has something in it that it was just some kind of secret spice or some kind of something, you know? My uncle Charles used to make these wings, and his specialty was grilling wings, and I loved his grilled wings. I like grilled wings anyway, but I loved his grilled wings. And he used to do something to those wings to make them. He used to do lemon pepper wings. That was his signature, lemon pepper wings. And what he would do with those lemon pepper wings, he didn't tell. I never to this day know. I don't know, but he would do something to those wings that they would just be perfectly crispy off that barbecue grill. It was almost like he fried them coming off the barbecue grill. And I was like, how do you do that? And he never told me. So I get it. The recipe thing is frustrating. Okay. Corn are food gluttons. Yes, they are heavy feeders. So 2 Quacks, 5 Plus Farm says we had sweet ambrosia with up to 4 cobs. Yes. So get those old school heirloom corns. They have the hybrid corns. They have less ears, I think, than some of your older heirloom varieties of corn. So be on the lookout for those older heirloom variety corns, and you can get some crazy stalks on them, especially if you provide the right nutrients for them. Hand pollinating works. Corn will be twice the size. I didn't know that. So even though I'm planting corn close together, I probably still will hand pollinate them and use tassel bags, because if that's the case, which it makes sense what he's saying, because I remember that one corn, and it's like the bees really liked this particular corn plant. They liked all of them, but it was like they would congregate around this particular plant. And that plant, I'm guessing it had more pollination going on, had the ears ended up being like the cobs were this long. It had 4 cobs that were this long on it. And I have a picture on my Instagram of that corn, actually. It was from like years ago. I have the picture of the watermelon. I have a picture of the peppers I grew. I have a picture of the corn I grew. And then on Turf Therapy's video, Men Talking, the live stream that we did, that picture was from the garden that I grew that 60 feet watermelon vine from. GG Natural said, I am trying again this year. Hey, we all just got to try until we get it right? Good to know. Yes, very good to know. Okay. This list right here, Angelica, Calendula, caraway, chive, cilantro, all bring in ladybugs. So ladybug attractant list. I'm going to take that down for later. So that's why I'm leaving some of the stuff I leave up on the screen. I leave it up for longer intentionally so that y'all can copy it, or I can copy it like on the replay when I watch it and everything. But yeah, hey, I know I probably haven't said it or nothing like that, but if y'all like the video, hit the like button. It helps me out. It helps me get more traction on these live streams, on my videos and everything like that, because I appreciate y'all coming. And I love to just sit here and rant on about my crazy little ideas in my head. So, hey, if y'all are here with me for me to rant, I'm going to be ranting along. But it's not going to just be random stuff. It's going to be stuff that's good and insightful. So there you go. Okay, so Muddy Boots Gardener. Walla Wallas grow very well here in the Northwest. They're a very large bulbing onion. I was wrong. They're not a bunching onion. They're a bulbing onion. So the tinkerer's wife says that they grow very well there in the Northwest. So I would literally just follow the instructions on the seed pack, because I remember I saw that you had the Walla Walla onions in the seed pack when I watched your video earlier, Muddy Boots Gardener. So just read the back of the pack and combine it with what the tinkerer's wife said, and I think you should be good to go. So let me see here. I'm continuing down the list. What's up, Simply Jan Homestead? Good to have you. Good to have you. Simple and easy. I'm still getting down the list. That's why I missed y'all, but I just looked at my phone to stay current. But I'm glad to have y'all. We're having fun tonight. So if y'all want, y'all can catch the replay or whatever too. We were having a blast talking about plant growth and pest prioritization tonight. And I think the lesson was pretty smooth. I remember when I was in college and I would listen to my professors talk about stuff like this. I would literally be asleep. Not every professor. I had this when I took botany in college. This is probably why I had to learn a lot of this stuff on my own. When I took botany in college about the plant, like specific science stuff, I had a professor who was from Russia, and he would be like, the dicot and the monocot of the plant is like, and I was like, whoa, bro. I loved him. He was a wonderful man. And if I would meet up with him after class and painstakingly listen to him for about 3 hours, I'll be able to get about 20 minutes of information out of him. But during class, he would just annihilate us. Like I'm talking about, so I remember now, this class, I passed that class just barely, but they did something to where they made it not count on people's transcripts, because there were so many people that failed the class that I guess it would reflect bad on the university or something like that. It was like the class had a 95% failure rate. So they gave it like they gave it some kind of thing to where it didn't impact the GPA. But yeah, I went off tangent a little bit there, but hey, we're going to finish out these comments and we're going to be on our way out. We're hitting 2 hours, y'all. Like that was one of my goals. I was like, if I can talk about stuff and actually hold a conversation for 2 hours, I'll do it. I don't mind at all. I drank some coffee before this too. That probably helps out a little bit, but I'm naturally high strung. So yeah. Let's see here. Okay. Go down the list. Okay. What is the minimum number of corn plants you need for good cross pollination? Good cross pollination. Some of the people who may have more experience getting good pollination help me out here, but I will tell you, when I grew corn in my 4x8 bed, I grew 24 corn plants. And I didn't have to do anything. Everything pollinated itself. In fact, there was so much corn that I wasn't able to get to it all in time before the mice got to it. Our neighbors had a shed, and it was like mouse brown base 0 or something. And if I didn't harvest stuff as soon as it was at peak ripeness, like my cantaloupes, my corn, everything, even it got so bad the next year that I couldn't even garden the next year because their population was so strong. When I put a seedling outside, when I put like a bean, when I'll put like a bean seedling outside, like they would just eat the head off the bean seed, and they just eat the cotyledons. Every time I put a plant out, they just eat the cotyledons, leave the stem. And it was just droves of them. And mice will decimate a garden. But yeah, minimum number, if you have a 4x8 bed, I would do 24. So that means that at very minimum, that's 20. 4x8 is 32 square feet. So yeah, I'd say 24 within every 32 square feet at minimum, and you get a decent. But I'd say that if you did it 1 plant per square foot, you're gonna have a really thick, nice pollination going on. So 1 plant per square foot if you have some good soil. Bulk grow them in a line and 1.5 feet apart. Okay, Canadian Proud Outdoors came with the realness. He said that bulk grow them in 1.5 feet apart. So yeah, I know I missed like so much of this chat. I'm going to just kind of sporadically hit some of these comments. So Muddy Boots Gardner says, so when you make that cornbread, send me some overnight so I can have with my collards. Hey, I'll definitely do that. Okay, so that's exactly my issue. I'm going to grab a few more seeds for my ladies, and then I'm done for the season. So y'all are talking about getting too many seeds, huh? Let me see. Hey, yeah. Okay. Okay, so all right. We're gonna get it on down. Looks like we might be able to finish out here soon. Okay, perfect. I'm glad you asked that question, Veggie Farm, because that was the only other problem that I had with corn when I grew it. And so what I did about the worms, that year specifically, I didn't have the information under my belt about the pest management. So when I saw those worms, it just was like the straw that broke the camel's back for me. When I saw those worms in the corn, I took all that corn down and I don't even remember what I did with it. I didn't even compost it. I just threw it out so I ended up from those 24 corn plants, even though I lost some corn and everything, I still ended up with 45 ears of corn. 45 ears of corn. Like insane off of 24 corn plants that were poorly managed, didn't have any kind of pest management, didn't have any kind of things going on like that. And I ended up getting like 44 or 45 ears of corn off those corn plants. So yeah. But yeah, back to what Canadian Proud Outdoors says, bulk grow them not in a line 1.5 feet apart. Yeah. So got it. That's why I'm building some elevated raised beds. Yes, those mice, man. Like, I do not like mice at all. They are a plague. So yeah, you can. Okay, so the pollination is about plant density, Lori's World. If you have literally 4 corn plants and they're planted within that that square, you're gonna have probably like really good pollination amongst those corn plants. But it's all about the density of those plants to get the good pollination that you're looking for. So there you go, Lori's World. So you can, yeah, yeah, you can never have too many seeds. That. So look at your name right now. Look at Seed Addict's name and look at what they're saying. They're biased. They're so biased. Hey, but I agree with them though. I agree with them. You can never have too many seeds. Oh, my earphone. It almost fell out. I almost lost it. Hey, but I'm going to go up here. Hey, hey, I appreciate that. So the Tinker's Wife said, your energy helps keep us all going. So I'm going to tell y'all something about my energy. So I wake up in the morning at like 3:30 or 4 a.m. and I sometimes stay up for about 15 to 16 hours a day. But just recently, starting like today, I did something today that changed the whole game. My energy is like on a whole new level because I did something that changed the whole game for me. Y'all know what I did? I submitted to the old man within me because I got an old soul within me. And let me tell you what I did. So I have an old soul with a 5-year-old's metabolism. So what I did this morning, I woke up at my normal time, probably around 3:30, 4 a.m. And then I ate some lemon pepper marinated chicken I made with some golden beet greens and some cornbread. I ate that at like 4 a.m. And then like I just kind of went around and looked at the little looked at the sweet potato cuttings and stuff like that. And then after that, I just played a quick video game or something like that. Went back to bed, woke up. So I took a nap in the morning. That's basically what I did. I went back to bed at like 6:30, woke up at like 8:30 or 8:15. And then when I woke up at 8:15, I cooked some pancakes and I cooked some eggs and I ate that. And then on top of that, I had some fruit. And I feel amazing today. I got so much energy. I don't know what to do with myself. I was not eating enough. That's just I was not sleeping enough and I was not eating enough. So that's the closing message tonight, y'all. I'm going to close y'all with this message. Take care of your body. You need to sleep. You need to eat. And make sure that you're eating the stuff out of your garden and stuff because it's going to give you energy like you don't even know what to do with. So that's the closing message tonight. Get your sleep, get your eats. You know, I'm a foodie. I got to eat. It's in my spirit. It's in my heart. No, but so Two Quacks said took a nap in the morning. But yeah, what you put in, you get out. Hey, that was off my 5 things video. Stinky Puddle Ranch be watching, boys. They be watching. That's fam for you right there. They watch the video. Oh, y'all didn't see that. That's fam for you. They watch the videos and they put that energy back out and you just reciprocate it. And that's why I'm doing this right now because y'all are watching it. Y'all are learning. And I'm just going to keep on passing that knowledge on. But hey, I know it's something I'm forgetting, right? It's something I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, I know what that is. It's y'all know what that means. That's Farmer Q out. But before I go this time, I'm gonna say goodnight. I'm gonna say bye, and I'm gonna end chat for a little bit, let everybody just simmer, and then we'll give y'all about a minute to do that. And after this minute, we're gonna say goodnight and we're gonna call it quits. But hey, y'all stay safe, y'all stay warm. It's too cold out here to be doing stuff outside right now. Y'all protect your animals, protect your plants, protect anything you got inside, protect your loved ones. Look out for your loved ones. Love on them. Give them some love. Kiss on your wife, kiss on your husband. Show them some love, because we all need love, right? Hey, that's my closing message tonight. Y'all have a good night. That's Farmer Q out.